Ethan Rivers and Claire Morgan came from families so close they were practically one. Their parents had been friends long before the two of them were born. Friends who became business partners and built a thriving construction firm together called River and Morgan Developments. Their families celebrated holidays together, took vacations together, and raised their children side by side. The Rivers family was known for their warmth. Ethan's mother, Caroline Rivers, was a schoolteacher with a calming spirit and a gentle smile that seemed to understand your heart before you spoke. His father, Daniel Rivers, was Claire's father's right-hand man in business, strong, wise, and quietly protective of the people he cared about. The Morgan family was full of energy and ambition. Claire's mother, Emma Morgan, owned a non-profit for girls' education and empowerment. Her father, Jonathan Morgan, was a respected architect whose creativity shaped the success of the company he shared with Ethan's father. Claire grew up watching her parents fight corruption, promote girls' rights, and speak boldly in public spaces. She admired their courage, and she inherited it. Ethan and Claire attended the same private school from kindergarten. They grew up sharing textbooks, secrets, dreams, birthday cakes, and even punishments when they got into trouble. Their bond was effortless, unforced, like two souls who had known each other in another life. Claire was loud and bright, adventurous and curious. Ethan was calm, quiet, and thoughtful, yet somehow she brought out sides of him no one else could. Teachers teased that the two were a walking balance, and their parents often joked that they behaved like twins separated at birth. They went to the same high school and later the same university, where Claire studied media and investigative journalism, while Ethan studied political science with dreams of becoming a human rights lawyer. Their futures seemed destined to intertwine. Claire always had a camera slung around her shoulder, capturing everything from sunsets to protests. She believed stories were powerful enough to change the world. She dreamed of creating documentaries that exposed corruption and human suffering. Ethan admired her fire. He admired the girl who could walk into darkness not because she wasn't afraid, but because she refused to let fear win. One summer, Claire convinced Ethan to join her for a research trip to the quiet town of Hillsworth, a once-forgotten place filled with abandoned farmlands, political exploitation, and hidden stories no one dared to tell. She wanted to film a documentary on land theft and environmental abuse, a bold move, but that was who she was. Their parents supported the trip because Claire and Ethan had never given them a reason to worry. Besides, the two families trusted each other completely. Their partnership spanned decades, their friendship even longer. When they arrived in Hillsworth, the beauty of the landscape almost hid the tension beneath it. Rolling fields, quiet forests, ancient paths, yet whispers of fear lingered in the air. People spoke in low tones. Some avoided Claire's camera. Still, she filmed fearlessly. She interviewed elderly farmers whose lands had been seized by powerful businessmen. She recorded silenced voices, stolen futures, and crushed dreams. Ethan assisted her, holding microphones, steadying cameras, and asking sensitive questions only when necessary. But neither of them knew that Claire's camera had captured something far more dangerous: evidence linking a wealthy, politically connected man named Richard Hale to illegal land acquisitions, forced evictions, and violent intimidation of villagers. One evening, Ethan left their lodge to gather documents from a local library. Claire stayed behind, eager to review her footage. She sat by the window with her laptop open, headphones on, humming to herself. She didn't hear them enter. She didn't know she was being watched. What happened to Claire was an act of brutality, an assault meant to silence her forever. Ethan returned minutes too late. He found her unconscious, bruised, broken, struggling to breathe. His voice cracked as he held her close, begging her to stay awake. With fading strength, Claire lifted her trembling hand and whispered her final words into Ethan's shaking palms. "Promise me you won't let them bury the truth. Promise me you'll finish what I started. Please." Her voice disappeared like a candle in the wind. Ethan shattered. He screamed her name until his voice burned. He held her body until the ambulance arrived, long after the warmth had left her skin. His heart felt torn from his chest, and the world around him spun in unbearable grief. Their families arrived hours later. Two families who had once shared joy now united in unimaginable pain. Emma Morgan collapsed when she saw her daughter's body. Caroline Rivers held her, crying with her, as Daniel and Jonathan shook with fury, promising they would not rest. But powerful men move quickly. Reports were altered. Witnesses changed their stories. Officers who once supported the investigation suddenly refused to speak. News stations aired false narratives claiming Claire's death was an accident. Inspector Collins Bacco, the officer assigned to the case, warned Ethan to drop the matter if he wanted to stay alive. He said it calmly, like he was doing Ethan a favor. But Ethan had made a promise. The pain became his strength. The grief became his fuel. And the memory of Claire, her laughter, her courage, her dreams, became the voice that pushed him forward every single day. Yet as he fought, he realized corruption was deeper than he imagined. Richard Hale had influence in government, police, media, and even the courts. People Ethan trusted betrayed him. Friends distanced themselves. Anonymous threats arrived at his doorstep. Still, Ethan refused to back down. One night while searching through Claire's belongings, he discovered something she had hidden, an encrypted cloud backup of all her footage, evidence even Hale didn't know existed. It was the turning point. He shared the files with Elena Carter, a fearless investigative journalist who had admired Claire's work from afar. Together, they began building a case, not just against Richard Hale, but against every corrupt official who had tried to bury the truth. Months of danger followed. Car chases, break-ins, hacked devices, and constant surveillance. But Ethan kept remembering Claire's trembling hand, her last breath, her last plea, and he kept going. When they finally released the evidence publicly, it caused a national uproar. Claire's documentary clips spread everywhere. Protests erupted. Government officials demanded a full investigation. Hale tried to flee the country. Inspector Bacco tried to destroy remaining evidence. The officer who betrayed Ethan tried to blame him for the crime. But this time, the truth was louder than the lies. After a long court battle filled with tears, threats, testimonies, and emotional breakdowns, justice was finally served. Richard Hale and his accomplices were sentenced. Inspector Bacco was exposed and arrested. And Claire's documentary, completed by Ethan and Elena, was released under the title, The Promise She Left Behind. On the anniversary of her death, Ethan visited her grave with both families together, the Rivers and the Morgans, bound forever by love, grief, and justice. Kneeling before the stone, Ethan whispered through tears, "Claire, I kept my promise." A soft breeze brushed his face, like her voice saying, "Thank you."